Controls window.
Hey everybody, in today's video I am going to show you how to set up the basics of Station Playlist. Because some of you out there might be like, oh my gosh, I have Station Playlist installed and there is just way too many settings in here and I have no idea where to begin. Because yeah, Station Playlist is a very complex program. I personally do not use all the settings in there. I just set the basics up that you need for the bare minimum of streaming, and that's it. Excuse me. I don't even get into everything. So, today I am here to walk you through on how to set up the basics of streaming with Station Playlist. I'm going to walk you through what you need to set up before you set up your encoder. Excuse me. So, yeah, I'm not going to be showing you in this recording how to set up an encoder. This is just to set up Station Playlist itself. So, let's get into Station Playlist.
STL Studio. Ops 27.2. STL encoder. Studio.
And we're going to hit Control O.
Options. User button.
Okay, we are going to stay under the user button. Excuse me. Because there is an option in here that needs to be checked. And I'm going to shift tab to it.
Tab control. User property page.
Or I'm sorry, I'm going to tab to it, not shift tab.
Take tracks on switch to live check. Stop on uncheck tracks check. Auto check uncheck track check. Play function is dim next. Auto scroll track change. Start cards instantly check box. Small buttons check box check. Line spacing check box check. Accessibility mode check box check.
You need accessibility mode checked. So you'll push space on it to check it. Excuse me. We are going to shift tab back to the user button.
Line spacing small buttons check.
Because that's the only thing you need to check in here.
Start cards auto scroll play function is dim. Auto check uncheck track. Stop on uncheck track. Take tracks on switch. Take all tracks with user button.
Okay, I'm back at the user button. Now I'm going to hit my right arrow.
General button. Advanced button.
Till I get to advanced. You're going to push space on advanced.
Press.
And there is one option in here that you need to fix.
Tab control. Advanced property page. Tab control. Page 1 tab selected.
Stay on page 1. I'm hitting my tab key.
Page 1 property page recommended length start text truncation threshold artist song. Hour markers grouping. Ignore radio button checked.
You want your hour markers set to ignore. So you're going to hit your up and down arrow until you get to where it says this.
Page 1 tab. Page 1 property page recommended length start text truncation threshold artist song. Hour markers grouping. Ignore radio button checked.
You're going to hit your up and down arrow until it says ignore radio button checked for the hour marker. Okay, I'm going to shift tab back to the
Page 1 advanced button.
Advanced button. Now, I'm going to tab to
Event times button. Folder locations button. Input button.
Input is where you want to go next, and I'm going to push space on input.
Press.
Now I'm going to hit tab, I meant.
Tab control. Input property page. Tab control. File input tab selected.
Do not worry about file input tab. You are going to right arrow to
Mic input tab.
mic input.
Selected. Mic input tab selected.
And we're going to push space on the mic input tab, and then we're going to hit tab again.
Mic input property page MS buffer size off break mode. Enable mic button checkbox checked.
You want enable mic checkbox checked, because if you don't have that checked, nobody will be able to hear you on the stream. And I'm going to tab again.
Combo box microphone. Low wireless headset collapsed.
Combo box microphone Logitech wireless headset. This is where you will hit your up and down arrow until you get to your particular microphone that you would like to use for streaming. That is the only thing we need to worry about in this section. So we're going to shift tab back to the mic input.
Enable mic button checkbox checked. Mic input tab selected.
And we are going to right arrow to
Line input tab.
line input tab.
Selected. Line input tab selected.
And I'm going to push space on the line input tab. Now I'm going to tab once.
Line input property page check 60 and row overlap the end and overlap MS buffer size MS 8 time device. Enable line button checkbox checked.
you want Enable Line In button checked. And this is if you're going to bring people on air. So we are going to hit our tab again.
Break note line and control checkbox not checked.
Do not worry about the break note. Tab again.
Combo box cable output. VB audio virtual cable collapsed.
Combo box VB audio cable. This is where you will set what you want your line-in device to be, and you will hit your up and down arrow until you get to your desired thing that you're going to use for your line-in device.
Break note enable line input button. Tab control input property page. Tab control line input tab selected. Line input switching tab.
Do not worry about line input switching. I shift tab back to line
Line
in.
input tab selected.
I shift tab back to line input tab.
Line input switching tab.
And if I hit my right arrow, there's line input switching. Do not worry about that. So we're going to go back to
Line input tab selected.
line input tab selected. And then we're going to shift tab back to
Input button.
input button. Now we are going to right arrow to
Output button.
output button. And we are going to push space.
Pressed.
Now I'm going to hit my tab key.
Tab control output property page. High normal engine priority general buffer size 500 ms engine priority normal I500 buffer size. Tab control mixer tab selected.
We are going to stay under the mixer tab because there's a few things we need to fix in here.
Mixer property page volume HD sample rate monitor volume. Device combo box 44100 collapsed.
Leave that alone.
Continuous stream checkbox not checked.
Leave continuous stream unchecked.
Sample rate HD continuous stream combo box primary sound driver collapsed.
Leave continuous stream primary sound driver alone. Now this next thing I'm tabbing to is what you're going to want to pay attention to.
Slider 20.
Where it says slider 20. Now by default, this slider is set to 100. I don't have it set to 100 because when I am streaming music, I cannot hear my screen reader. It is very loud. So I had to put this slider down to 20, and you could either use page up, page down, home, and up or down arrow to get it to your liking. And I have it set to 20, because 100 is just way, way, way too loud. Now, however, this will not affect your listeners. Meaning the people who are listening to the stream. It won't turn down the music on their end. It's just for your side. So I turned it down to 20, that way I could still hear my screen reader while my music is playing. Now I'm going to hit tab again.
Output mixer button.
Don't worry about that.
Output mixer combo box disabled collapsed.
Leave that alone.
Audio monitor device slider 100.
I'm looking for a list next.
Digital signal processors grouping list.
Digital Signal Processors Group List is what you want to be looking for when you hit your tab key. And there's a couple things we need to check in here.
Optimax 51 DSP Optimax 51 DLL checkbox checked.
You want Optimax checked, which I recommend you getting. I am not sure where you can get Optimax from, but basically it's an installer and you just install it and it'll show up as one of your plugins here in Station Playlist. So you want Optimax checked, which I highly recommend getting. And you want your thing you're going to be using to stream your show, which is called your encoder. So you want
SPL encoder V2 DSP split encoder DLL checkbox checked.
You want the SPL encoder checked. So these are the two things that you want checked in here. So that's pretty much it for this section. Let's shift tab back.
Audio monitor output mixer combo box disabled collapsed. Output mixer slider 20. Sample rate HD continuous stream checkbox not device combo box 44 mixer tab selected.
Okay. Next we are going to go under the recording tab by hitting our right arrow.
Record tab.
And we're going to hit space.
Selected. Record tab selected.
Now I'm going to hit tab once This is for if you like to archive your streams and upload them to things such as Mixcloud. What you can do by setting this whole thing up in the recording tab, it's going to fix it so you could press R to start or stop recording in the main station playlist window. So I'm going to hit tab once.
Record property page file format 192 kbs audio source grouping studio mixer after DSP radio button checked. Top studio mixer after DSP.
So you want studio after mixer DSP. You want that radio button checked. And you will just hit your up and down arrow until you get to that. And then once you have studio after DSP checked, you will, once you've selected that radio button with your up and down arrows and you got to where it says studio after DSP, radio button checked, you can just go on to the next thing.
See X recordings and select see X recordings.
Now the next box is where you would put your path, meaning the path of where you want your radio show archives to be saved. That is where you would paste it in or type it in. Like mine says C:\Edcast recordings, for example.
X C. X recordings. Blank. S. Blank.
So, or if you don't want to type it in, excuse me, you can,
Button.
there's an unlabeled button here you can browse for it.
File format HHN and MP3.
Okay, this file format thing is not set to MP3 by default. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go to all the way to the end of this line
Blank. Image blank.
and be at the end of the quote. So you're going to have to delete, you're going to have to hit your backspace key and delete the quote and then the words WAV. So that it says, so that it does not say .wav quote. You're going to have to fix it to where it says .mp3 quote or .ogg quote. So I had to backspace till I got to the, so I had to backspace, I had to hit my delete key for the words, for the quote and then the word WAV, and then I just left the dot in there. Like I made sure I was to the right of the dot, the period. Excuse me, and that's where I typed an MP3 quote. But by default, this is not set up like that, so you have to do it. And you have to delete the quote and then the word WAV, and then make sure you're to the right of the dot, and then in there you could, once you're to the right of the dot, you could put MP3 quote or OGG quote, whatever you want to stream in. So, and then that's pretty much it for this section.
Button. See X recordings and audio source group record tab selected.
We're going to go back to the recorded tab by pushing Shift tab.
Mixer tab.
Now we're going to go to
Line output tab.
Line Output tab.
Selected. Line output tab selected.
Now the only thing you have to have checked in line, or the only thing you have to worry about in this line,
Mixer tab. Line output tab selected.
the only thing you have to worry about in this line out tab is Optimax. So you're going to tab to a list, that list,
Line output property page volume device. Slider 1 output mixer button. Digital signal processors grouping list.
Digital Signal Processors Group list. And you want to down arrow to,
Optimax 51 DSP Optimax 51 DLL checkbox checked.
you want to down arrow to Optimax checked. You want that checked. And that's pretty much it for this. We're going to shift tab back to,
Output mixer button. Slider 100. Line output tab selected.
we're going to shift tab back to line output.
Mid output tab.
Now I'm going to left arrow to mic output. In And if you're in the recording,
Lineup mixer record tab.
if you're on the recorder tab selection, you hit your left arrow to go through these.
Mixer tab.
Mixer tab.
Line output tab selected.
Line output tab is what we're currently on, so I'm going to left arrow to
Mic output tab.
mic output tab.
Selected. Mic output tab selected.
And I'm going to push space on mic output tab. Now I'm going to tab to the list.
Mic output property range reduction speed MP reduction volume device 500 slider 100. Output mixer button. Minus 12.0 decibels slider 25. Device edit red only selected 500. Digital signal processors grouping list.
Digital signal processors group list, and I'm going to down arrow to
Optimax 51 DSP Optimax 51 DLL checkbox checked.
Optimax is what you want checked. So that's the only option in here. I'm going to shift tab back to the
Device edit red only selected minus 12.0 decibels slide output mixer button. Slider 100. Mic output tab selected.
I'm going to shift tab back to the mic output tab.
Line output tab. Mixer tab.
So under the mixer tab, the
Line output tab.
line output tab, and the
Mic output tab selected.
mic output tab, you want to make sure Optimax is checked. Excuse me, in all three of those places. And then you're done setting up your station playlist options. So we're gonna shift tab to the
output button.
Output, or we're gonna shift tab to the close button. Sorry.
Pane. Help button. Close button. Pressed. Station playlist studio go list.
And there you go. You're all set to go. So this is how you set up station playlists, the basics of it anyway, the bare minimum, just to get you started. Meaning the bare minimum that are required to get you to stream. So hope this helps, and I will see you guys next time.
Ops 27.2.4. Ops 27.2.4. 64-bit Windows profile. Untitled scenes. Untitled window. Controls window. Ops 27. Controls window. Stop recording checkbox checked.